What's up, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. My name is Kyle Smith. I am joined by Adam Carlson. How are you, sir?
I'm trying some more new stuff here. It's always lately it's been a lot of new stuff here with the PC and mics and cams and everything. So I hope everything's looking and sounding pretty good.
Sounds great. Looks great on our end. What do you think, Kyle West? How are you, sir?
It's a streak of white in the beard that's what's messing it all up.
Right there with you, man.
Yeah, I just got a haircut today, and I'm like, I told the lady cutting my hair, I'm like, boy, there sure is a lot of gray mixed in with this now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, comes up quick. I am doing good, and I just learned a couple minutes ago we're on Audible now.
We are.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
Hello,
in addition
and
to
welcome.
Google Podcasts and Spotify and wherever people are listening
iTunes,
to podcasts,
maybe?
usually there.
iTunes, or what's the...
Everything.
YouTube, Facebook, we're everywhere.
Yeah,
iTunes, Podomatic, Spotify, now Audible. You can always watch us on YouTube. It's crazy, man. We've definitely worked together to build this thing up. God, it's I'm going in my 10th year with you guys. You guys have been doing
It's been many years in the making here. I mean, I know we don't have as many followers or things like that as other podcasts, but that's never been important to me.
But we have Jonathan with us, and that is the important part.
Charlotte and Jonathan, the power couple on this show.
No, Wes said Jonathan, not Charlotte.
Yeah, just Jonathan.
He's got his favorite.
You guys go ahead and pick your battles there. I'm going to go with both of them. That should be able
the guy who splits his game balls.
Yeah, hey, that's a good point. Thank you for calling me out on that. It's true. So this is episode 517, Bradbury-ed Live. We're going to talk about the offensive line. We're going to talk about Garrett Bradbury and others who have decided to stay here. And we'll go back to last week to start off the show. I had told the guys, because I work at the Charlotte airport in Charlotte, North Carolina, I was going to be hanging out in baggage claim all day looking to see Adam Thielen. And I did that. And I did not see him because he didn't come through yesterday. So I'm very sad. But between last show and now, Adam Thielen has signed a 3-year deal with the Carolina Panthers. How do you guys feel about that? And I will go over the details after.
I'm happy for him. I mean, he was going to sign somewhere. There was a lot of, I guess you'd call it PR speak from his statement, and he said on Pat McAfee show, I don't really believe him when he's talking about, Andy Dalton being a reason why he would sign anywhere. That's ridiculous.
I don't know. Do you remember that Pro Bowl where him and Andy Dalton were on the sideline? They were talking and having a good time. I'm thinking they're friends.
They are friends. They did mention that. He did mention that Adam's wife and kids are friends with Andy's wife and kids. They both have 3 children, and they said that was something, and you don't think about stuff like that off the top of your head of why, what little things might sway you. I know, to Kyle's point, that messed me up so bad, Kyle. But we're talking about Adam, but not you, Adam. We're talking about Adam Thielen. Man, that messed me up. Adam was talking about. Yeah, I know, it's so weird. Yeah. Adam was talking about the little things. They were joking around. It's a very casual show on Pat McAfee's show, but so yeah, they know I like golf. They have a golf simulator in the locker room, and everything's in the stadium, which is really cool. You don't have to make a trip. But he did say a couple of things, paying respect to Minnesota, that I loved. Saying that, you can't hold a candle to the Vikings facilities. Like, this place isn't going to blow you out of the water like the Vikings will. But they did make the attempt. They're very personal. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. He has respect. Obviously, you talked about Andy Dalton, but he loves Frank Reich. He said what they did in Philadelphia was impressive. Even with Indy, it was impressive. And he
also said he believes that Carolina can win a Super Bowl. And he also said he's excited about their new running back and some of their receivers. Which I don't believe a lot of that.
I don't believe a lot of it
I don't either, but hey, those are the things you have to say when you sign with a new team. Did you see the photo of him and his family? It's kind of funny. Everyone, his wife, his kids, are all wearing Panthers gear, except for Adam Thielen.
Right.
He's just dressed in, normal street clothing attire. I thought that was pretty funny for a photo shoot.
I did see that on Vikings Twitter, which is officially the most toxic NFL fandom in the NFL is Vikings Twitter, according to the...
Yeah.
Purple and Gopher Days. What's up, homies? What do you guys think? You think Vikings Twitter is the worst NFL space? Because I think it's true.
It's bad.
We damn sure earned that ranking.
Right now, if you go on there and say anything about Lamar Jackson, it's over.
Hey, let's talk about that too, because I sent it in the chat earlier. The Vikings. Let me pull this up because I don't have it readily available. But my goodness, Dustin Baker. He's a big person in Vikings Twitter. He's in there with a lot of the conversations and topics. Per bookies, at bookies, these are the odds to land Lamar Jackson. The Vikings are 4th on that list, which I don't believe. I'm at negative percentage of belief of that happening. Baltimore first at 225, Tennessee at 2 for plus 400, New England at plus 500, and the Vikings at plus 550. And then there's a significant drop off. Colts, Jets, Falcons, and everyone else 1,000, 1,400, 1,500. And then
who is Tennessee's quarterback right now?
Isn't it Ryan Tannehill? Or is he a free agent?
Malik Willis?
Malik Willis is there.
Yeah. Yeah, did they retain Tannehill? I honestly don't know.
Let's find out.
I have no
I'll look it up here. Didn't think you were going to get Ryan Tannehill news, but here we are.
Do any of us actually believe this Lamar Jackson business? Like, where is this coming from? What, anyone got an opinion on this here?
I don't know. To me, it's crazy to think that to get him is going to be like 2 firsts and $40 million a year. Is that worth it?
Can we
talking about Brandon Cooks. I was getting in an argument about the Brandon Cooks trade with some guy on, the NFL Facebook who commented. I wrote, good for Houston for getting out of that contract because that contract was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, $12 million because he's looking at it from a Cowboys perspective. He's like, $12 million a year for a solid receiver isn't bad money. He's like, yeah, but he's getting 12 from Dallas. He's getting 6 or 8 from Houston, just dead money.
Yeah.
And then they also had to give up a 5th and a 6th round pick, I think, to get him. So is he worth $12 million and a 5th and a 6th for a contract that's got 1 year left on it? Is that worth a 1-year rental?
I want to know at what point their value meets with what they think about talent, because I saw a graphic about him today, right? First 2 years, New Orleans. Next 2 years was New England, the Rams, and then the last 4. I don't know where he was before Houston, but all of those years he has 1,000 yards, which is a benchmark for receivers. It has been for a while. That's good. I didn't know that he had consistently had a 1,000-yard season for 6, 7, 8 years now.
Well, last year he had 560 or something like that.
I thought it said he had more than that last year, but let me look.
I know it was a disappointing number.
And Wes hit the nail on the head here in the chat, going back to Lamar. He says, I don't think we have the salary cap to be able to afford Lamar Jackson. So even if you were willing to make the trade and get rid of Kirk, we're not... They don't have the cap space to pay for Lamar. You're not paying as much as what they are for Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, and Lamar Jackson.
Kirk,
like that.
Cook, a first and next year's first. Boom.
Yeah. There you go.
And then everybody can be quiet about getting a young quarterback.
I saw another theory the other day, too, now that we're rambling on about that stuff, or at least I will be, about trading Kirk to the Jets just to frustrate Green Bay. And I'm like, he has a no-trade clause. You guys always forget that. You think he's going to waive that to go to a team he already turned down?
Kirk already screwed over the Jets once.
They're not going to take him, and he doesn't want to go there. I don't understand the fantasy land of writing. Like, keep it somewhere within the scope of reality. But as you guys brought up, yes, Ryan Tannehill has 1 year left on his contract. A base salary of $27 million with the Titans, $5 million signing, 4.6 restructure, cap hit $36 million, and a dead cap of $18.8 million. So
the season were to start today, the Colts would be starting Gardner Minshew. That's exciting.
We do like that guy here on the Purple People.
He's fun.
Mm-hmm.
He is funny. He has a great personality. Good backup too. I believe in him. If you need to come in for 2 or 3 games and compete really well. But yeah, I don't think Lamar's coming to Minnesota. I said in our chat I have a negative 0% belief in that whatsoever. And I also said to our friends with Purple and Gold for Days and Mike Cassiano, shout out to him. I said, if he comes here, I guarantee you Justin Jefferson will want out after a year, if not immediately. He's not going to get the same number of targets. He's not going to get the same amount of yardage under a run-heavy offense, which is exactly what that would have to be. That's what Baltimore does. Now, to their point, they had a great point. It was like, well, do we think that Kevin O'Connell can groom him up and make him a better passer? Yes. But with the way they air it out and the idea that Kevin O'Connell comes here from L.A. saying, I'm going to copy a lot of that, and we're going to throw the ball a lot. I don't think Lamar does that very well.
Can I make a bold statement about Lamar Jackson? Everyone, well, not everyone, but you hear quite a bit. Oh, we'll just draft the next Patrick Mahomes, and we always say you're not going to draft the next Patrick Mahomes, guys. It's much more likely that you could draft the next Lamar Jackson. Talking about a big athletic quarterback who can run with the ball, you can find those.
You can draft the next Jake Locker, too.
Yeah, you sure could.
Well, we did. He didn't retire early, but Ponder was very much in that whole neighborhood of quarterbacks. But I heard something interesting the other day, too. This doesn't exactly pertain to the Vikings, but we're just going to talk about the offensive line today. It's been a slower week after that massive amount of news we had last week. TJ Husmann-Shada was on Colin Cowherd, and they're talking about the new quarterbacks coming out. And I love that he's a scout. He was in the league for a long time, and he has this different perspective because wide receivers have to be in tune with quarterbacks, and they could tell you little quirks that they have. And they were talking about throwing motions. It was really weird. They brought up the kid from Kentucky, Will Levis. He will inevitably go in the first round, I believe. They were talking about how he has a weird throwing motion, but relating it back to the C.J. Strouds, the Bryce Youngs, the Anthony Richardsons that are coming out this year. They're going to be drafted next month. He said, and I quote, all of the kids these days are throwing like Aaron Rodgers. They saw what he did, they loved it, and they have mimicked that to a T. Every kid coming out now wants to throw like Aaron Rodgers. And, Colin mentioned, he's like, yeah, he throws off his back foot a little bit, whatever. He's like, whatever he does works. And that's the new formula for everyone coming out. And I thought that was super interesting because outside of like a Tim Tebow, not to pick on him, I don't notice too many crazy throwing motions. They're all relatively in the same neighborhood, but people have studied, and we're old guys is what I'm getting to. This guy's been in the league so long now, he's changing the future of the game and how they play it, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Adam, I'll make a reference in terms of throwing motions that I know you'll know. You probably know where I'm going with this already. The very first quarterback that I seen throw and went, there's something wrong with that throwing motion was Byron Leftwich.
Wow.
Byron Leftwich had that. Go back and watch his tape. He's got this really long looping motion when he throws the football, when he threw the football with it. And it worked for him, but boy, you could see him winding up from a mile away with that baby. That was a weird throwing motion.
Oh yeah, his windup was long.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up another...
Roethlisberger kind of had a wind up with it too.
That's true. I do remember Big Ben.
But Roethlisberger made people eat those pump fakes, which was sweet.
Yeah.
Well, that brought to another point, Adam, or Kyle, that I remembered from that same conversation, talking about the throwing motion and all that. He's like, what it comes down to is all of these guys, when they get them in the room, they can walk you through everything. But the processing speed, which he bragged on Bryce Young, I'm not high on Bryce Young because he's small. They say he's an ungodly athlete. Like, he can run routes like a receiver and stuff, and he can just fake it and go through, and he does it perfectly because he's so athletic. But he's like, here's the thing that particular guy I'm talking about does well. You hope all of them can, but most of the guys, they get to the NFL, they have the athletics, but they can't process and make decisions fast enough correctly, and that's where they fall apart. He's saying every one of these guys, you bring them in the room one-on-one with X coach from X team.
Oh, yeah.
They'll tell you exactly where you have to go. But when the pressure comes, there's only a handful of them that make it because they can sort of get where they need to go. And it's crazy, man. You can – all these hyper athletic kids that are coming out, young kids coming up, but how many of them in the face of pressure and, whatever situation, can they make the right call? That's the crazy part.
What about Kirk? Is there anything about his throwing motion or just pocket presence that you guys either like or a fan of, or just things that you don't like that he does?
I think I've seen him long enough to say he locks on sometimes a little too much, but I do like what I've noticed, and you guys noticed too, since he became a Viking. He had this really bad habit of standing and tucking his head when he was going to get sacked, and then the ball came out. At least now he'll fall to the ground, which I much more appreciate. Just take the sack, and he's limited his turnovers about that. But throw it, no, I like the way he throws, and I think he has an underrated arm and he's definitely underappreciated for how much people crap on him, how accurate he is. The dude's accurate.
Well, the only things I don't like about Cousins a lot is that he does want to be in the pocket at almost any cost. He'll give his offensive linemen chances to correct their blocking schemes and to hold that pocket, instead of rolling out. And he needs to start rolling out a little bit more if he can to avoid those pressures and make things a little bit easier for his linemen.
When he stands back there, you can tell when Kirk is, well, like you said, when he's trying to process what's going on in the field in front of him, and when no one is open, he's got that tendency to stand there and kind of pat the football. You ever seen him do that?
Yes,
he'll stand in the pocket, and he'll pat it, and he'll pat it, and he'll pat it, because he's waiting for someone to break open, and then that's usually when he takes a sack or something. And like you said, Adam, that's those instances where occasionally, if he'd roll out and make some separation, that might allow someone to make a play down the field where he might be able to get, to connect down there with him as well, too.
Just a little thing here. Can we get that second R in Bradbury-ed alive?
Bradbury-ed, yes. Thank you. We don't have a spell check here. That is my bad. So, yeah, I saw that today, or I saw that yesterday, and I thought it was interesting. I also got a text from one of my buddies from Nashville, big Eagles fan. Shout out to Dave. I miss you, bud. He said, Herndon Hooker, 23rd overall pick from Tennessee, would be the Vikings pick this year. And I said, I will riot if they take a quarterback at 33. We don't need one. We have very little assets. He's like, well, you don't have to trade up to get him. Yeah, but we only have 5 picks, man. We have many needs. That's not one of them. And then
it's not, but if there's one available that they believe in and we really are building for the future, I would understand it, but right. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I would bet against it.
Yeah.
They always give me, grief about that. They're like, well, you need to move on from this quarterback. And it's like, no, we need.
How many athletes do you think stick their tongue out because they saw Michael Jordan do it?
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's a good one. Yeah, back to Kirk. I don't know. I like him. I think we know what he is. He's going to be here this year. I have no doubts about that. The future will be, up in the air after next year or after this season going into next year, but that's where we are now. But I can tell you who is going to be here. We'll start with him because the episode's named after him. Garrett Bradbury is back with the Vikings. They got him for a cheaper deal than what they could have, which is always great to save money. Adam, I think you know the specifics better than I do. I know it's 3 years, $15 million. I don't know what he was going to make or what the tag would have been or whatever else. But they didn't.
If they used the 5th-year option, it would have been $15 million for him for 1 year,
which is what he signed for 3, which is pretty cool.
Pretty good value there. Not to mention the Vikings locked down his backup, Austin Schlottman, and they also got Oli Udoh back, so they have a little bit of depth. Like I said, right now they're just working on getting that floor higher on the offensive line. They've got 2 good ends on the offensive line, 2 good tackles. And Bradbury, I thought, had his best year as a pro last year, even though he still has some room for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Ezra Cleveland, he's okay. I'm not going to pound the table and say he needs to be replaced. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be shocked to see Minnesota approach him about an extension, as I wrote in an article over on the Viking Age.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like Ezra Cleveland. I'm not sticking him in the Vikings Ring of Honor, but he's played well for the team. I trust him more than Ed Ingram right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on last season, yes.
Mm-hmm. And I thought Bradbury played. He played well last year. It was, like you said, Adam, probably his best season as a pro, and it's one of those things where they got good value on the re-sign. It's not a long-term deal. There was not an immediate path to upgrading from him, and and that's an important position to have consistency as well too. I don't think you want to just start changing your center out.
Well, that was limited cap space and limited draft picks. I mean, you don't want to go in having too many needs for the rest of the offseason.
Right. So I'm fine with it.
Well, I brought his contract up here on over the cap. This year, base salary $1.08 million, so very small, guaranteed, which is nice. He has a prorated bonus and a per game roster bonus, workout bonus, all that stuff. But the cap number is 2.6. which is wonderful. It's barely over 1% of the whole total cap. In 2024 and 25, 4.9 each of those years are pretty identical. cap hit will be $6.5 million. So it's still a lot of value there, assuming he can hold the same level of play that he had last year. That's definitely a value signing, and I'm all right with that. He's familiar with the system. He's familiar with the team, and obviously he's familiar with this quarterback. So I like it. But that's only one of the 5. We're glad to have him back. What's the overall census before we move on from him? You're happy that he's back? I'm assuming we're all happy because
I'm happy. I'm happy that he's back. Like I said, there was not an immediate path to upgrade him, upgrade at that position, and I think the consistency is important. Like you said, we're sticking with Kirk for another couple seasons. We're going to stick with Bradbury for another couple seasons.
I'm not going to say happy he's back, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's fair, Adam. I'll agree with that.
C-Wise, we're going to talk about your comments in just a second. I want to get up there for people that are listening later or now. C-Wise says, number 1, same formula every year. Teams will bum rush the middle of the line and sack pressure Kirk, who can't scramble well. Point 2, Kirk has said that rookie quarterbacks have to earn it and don't expect any help from him, unlike Mahomes and Alex Smith. I'm not challenging you on that. I'm not challenging you on that, C-Wise. I just want to know if you remember where you heard that from. I'd love to look that up and read more. But we will talk about that in just a second. We know that Christian Darrisaw and Ed Ingram are rookie deals, so we're not getting to the money with those. They're still cheap now. Ezra Cleveland, 2023. He's here. It doesn't say anything after.
I did not follow what was going on with Kirk and Kellen Mond when that was happening. I didn't know if Kirk was helping Mond when he could or not, or if Mannion was there to help out Mond. I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure no one on this team underneath Mike Zimmer was helping Kellen Mond.
That's a very good point. Talking about Ezra Cleveland, I don't see anything past 2023. So for this year, base salary of $2.9 million, prorated bonus.
Kirk is entering the final year of his rookie deal, which is why an extension might be in order.
Ezra?
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looking here.
He's fine. He's fine. He's to sound like Chris Collinsworth. He's a guy. He's a guy out there. You could do better, but you could also probably do much worse than him.
We've seen him Pro Bowl, but you don't want to have to replace him and look for an upgrade at right guard too.
Correct. So I'm fine with him getting a contract extension from the Vikings. I'm sure they'll be able to do a good deal, a good value deal with that one. I'm a little more concerned about Ed Ingram. Ed Ingram was not good last year. We gave him a lot of the benefit of the doubt. How many times did we say rookie growing pains with him? We can't have that this year, so I hope that he is doing what's necessary to improve at his position.
So far, Minnesota has done almost nothing to improve the position. They brought back some guys, but so far, nothing to really improve on that position other than they signed that blocking tight end, pass blocking tight end. And I hope that can help out a little bit. Maybe they'll bring him in to have him help out on either side of the line if they're getting beat on the edge from someone.
Yes, Charlotte. Charlotte asks, do you know where Kellen Mond is now? He is with Cleveland. He's a Cleveland Brown. That's the Ezra Cleveland contract. So I didn't take that into effect that, yes, he is coming up the end of his rookie deal. So maybe an extension there. The best offensive lineman we have, love him to death, Brian O'Neill. He has this year included 4 years left. He did sign an extension either last year.
Yeah, it was a big extension.
How old is he?
He's 28.
Oh, okay. So we're fine.
Yeah,
his base salary.
Years.
His base salary is the most it will be this year as far as percentage and numbers, 14.4, $4.5 million prorated bonus, $500,000 for a game per roster bonus, and a workout of $100,000. Guaranteed salary 14.4. He's earned that. The next 3 years there is no guaranteed salary from 24, 25, and 26, but he is very much a staple on the offensive line. Nice dude. Does his job very, very well. It will be interesting to see him come back from an Achilles injury. So we'll hope that he is there. Because that happened, at the end of the year? So I'm sure he's rehabbing. But I have all the faith in Brian O'Neill. He's proven time and time again. How many games and how many seasons we didn't have to call his name for anything? which
I
is
was just
exactly
gonna
what
say
you want.
we rarely have to talk about Brian O'Neill because he
Right.
goes out there and does his job, and he does it really well. And that's kind of what you want from an offensive lineman. You really don't want to have to talk about him. That means they're playing well. They're doing what they should be.
Yeah, him and Darisaw both I feel really good about going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
That was where I was going next. Is we're not going to talk about the money because Christian Darisaw, we're going into what, year 2 or 3. He's been phenomenal. He got even better from year 1, and he was already pretty good in year 1. So the tackles, the bookends as they call them, look pretty good for the future of the Vikings. The middle of the line is concerning. And we've talked about this just recently on the previous show before. I know I did. We don't know where the Vikings are going to go with their picks. I imagine if they can't make any trades of Dalvin Cook or Zadarius Smith or any other player that they might want to trade, they may elect to trade back and collect more draft capital. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a lineman taken. I would like to see somebody other than Ed Ingram be their choice.
Yeah, there's a handful of places right now where Minnesota could really swoop in and grab somebody that could be a big contributor immediately, and that's on the offensive line, at linebacker, at receiver, or at corner.
Yep.
Because right now Minnesota, it seems like they're going to let Chandon Sullivan walk, and that means Minnesota will need to find a new slot corner.
Still no Duke Shelley re-signing, which is kind of annoying. But
which I was excited a little bit about Chandon Sullivan, but he did not have a great year.
He did get robbed in that, I believe, that Indianapolis game. But yeah, overall, but outside of one game, it wasn't a lot there. But he's been vocal on Twitter saying that he would like to come back as well. We're going to talk about that and break that down soon too. And that's the episode where Purple and Gold for Days, they wanted to join in. So here soon, within the next week or two, we'll talk about DBs.
So I saw on Twitter, some people were talking about how they're really worried about edge rushers for the Vikings. And that's likely because of the Zadarius Smith not wanting to be here in the future. Now, does this mean they don't believe in Davenport, or is it a depth thing? Do they want more depth, or what is the worry at edge?
That's the thing, Adam. I'm with you. I think the depth is the thing that's the strength of that defensive line, especially at rushing the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm fine with the depth there.
They've had a lot of great guys.
I'd be okay with Hunter Davenport as starters.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. You have Wanham as a backup who stepped in and had many shining moments, and Patrick Jones looked great a couple times last year. Like this has been a strength of the Vikings for years, even after the coach left. I'm sorry, I forgot his name, the defensive line coach, but they've drafted edge rushers pretty well. So yeah, I'm cool with the depth. Not sure what specifically Twitter was talking about, but I'm okay with that setup.
Yeah, Vikings have done a little bit of work on the offensive line. They signed Dean Lowry from Green Bay to be on the interior of the D line, and he may not be a name that a lot of people are familiar with, but he's a solid player.
Well, it's funny is I think we mentioned it in the chat. I don't know if we did it last week on the show, but him signing, they looked at the pressure rate between him and Tomlinson, and they're the exact same. I believe it was Tomlinson.
I did not know that.
I'll double check and make sure I'm not misquoting from another player.
The two don't play the same position really, so
I'm trying to remember. I want to say if I'm misquoting that, I'm sorry, and I'll look like a jackass. But
no, the stat is right.
There we go. Want to make sure
it's
right
not
there.
Really a fair comparison since the two play different positions.
I'm just looking at. I guess I'm looking more about the pass rush in there, which
because people were like, "Oh, well, Kwesi moneyballed this one," and sure, when you say it that way, it sure sounds like it, but I don't think it's the same.
I need to do my due diligence on looking up more about Dean Lowry too. I do remember.
That's a nice Leslie Frazier callback. Due diligence.
I got to do the due diligence on that tape because I do remember the times we played the Packers. He has been up in Kirk Cousins' face quite a few times. Mm-hmm. So I like that for us. Hopefully he wants to stay more than a year.
Well, I mean, he's under contract.
I'm just making fun of Zadarius Smith coming from the Packers and only wanting to play a year.
Yeah, well, like I said, he's still under contract, so he can.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That's the one thing I'm looking for.
He can want to leave. Doesn't mean you're gonna leave.
That's a good point. I know we were talking about
those rumblings that the Vikings are thinking about bringing back Mike Hughes.
Ugh.
I hadn't heard that. I know we were talking about it in the chat, but I didn't know that that was like an actual rumor thing going on there. Mike Hughes, would I want Mike Hughes back? I mean, we need depth at that position, and he can definitely provide depth out there at corner. So I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. He was
playing pretty well in Kansas City.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't think that you would want to. God, I don't think you'd want to just pencil him right in as a starter.
I'm good with passing on. I know he did all right with KC, as you said. Like, I just don't see the career resurgence being what it is now. If you're just doing it for depth, yeah. I don't know if he, like Kyle said, if he's going to be a starter. And I hate it for him because injuries did take a part in that.
Yeah, those neck injuries are scary.
I would just go with someone younger if I could and see if it pans out, because I kind of know what Mike Hughes is at the moment. But the Vikings are not in the particular position to be, I hate to say it, beggars can't be choosers, but when you're lacking there, you need to look at all options. Hence why Andrew said he is pissed about them not signing the Duke yet. That guy played with a chip on his shoulder. We're going to see this new defensive
coordinator filling up the team with guys that fit what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we don't really understand it, I mean, I'm sure they'll have an idea of what they want to do.
Well, we also have to check ourselves, and this is for me, directing it at me first. You're only a weekend of free agency. They'll sign people all the way up into training camp or maybe after. Who knows?
Right.
There's plenty of time. The draft still has to happen. So just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. This is just one of those. It would give us something cool to talk about, but yeah, you're right, Adam. You're 100% right. I'd love to see what impact he has, what his fingerprint will be on the players that get brought in, however they may come.
Because one thing that just keeps pounding in my head is how when Zimmer came to Minnesota, the first thing he did was start pounding the table. And we all got absolutely just shocked when the Vikings said Anthony Barr. We're like, how's this guy going to fit on the team?
Mm-hmm.
What's this going to do? And Barr sure showed that he had a role on this team, and he came out and played very well for several years. So, I mean, when teams have an idea of what they want to do with someone, that's one reason I'm excited about Lewis Cine when he actually gets some time. Absolutely. Because the team had said they have some ideas of what to do with him. And I'm excited to see what they can do.
I'm excited for Lewis Cine coming off of that Georgia team that won the Natty 2 years ago, and just how fast and aggressive he was. That'll be fun.
Yeah, you got to get him on the field and out there making plays for the Vikings this year. I don't care how, I don't care what package, whatever. Just get him on the field, man.
Also, we're recalling Anthony Barr memories. My favorite one of him is playing in Atlanta with a cast on his arm, chasing down a running back and knocking the ball out and simultaneously knocking the cast off of his forearm.
I'm gonna go with the Subway head sculpture.
Oh, goodness.
So bad.
That was terrible.
That was terrible.
Oh, that's a good one.
I will never forget that.
Andrew, that's a good point. Talking about vet minimum, we're talking about Mike Hughes and corner help that the Vikings need, but he might.
Yeah, I don't think they just lay too much money on the table for him.
Well, I don't think they should. I don't think they can at the moment. I'm still curious to see, and this will be answered at some point. Are Dalvin Cook and Zadarius Smith going to play for the Vikings in 2023? There's been rumors.
The Vikings are trying to get what they can for either, and there have been rumblings that Minnesota has told teams they are open to dealing Cook.
Mm-hmm.
Which, strangely enough, I've seen fans on Twitter, of course, saying that you don't pay Madison what you did for him to be a backup. He got backup money. That's backup money that he got. 2 years, $7 million. That's not a big contract for a running back.
It's not in the sense of what we've been doing forever and teams have done in the past where you have a premier running back. I just wonder if they're going to stick with that. Because Dalvin's clearly said, I'm not taking a pay cut. And I can see his reasoning for why. He's been very effective. But are they going to go with, I'll pay another guy the same amount I paid Madison, which would be less than what I'm paying Cook. Maybe he's not as talented as Cook, but we do the running back by committee stable thing. I wonder, I want to know what they're thinking.
Right,
the running back market is slowly cleaning out.
Yeah.
My gut tells me that Zadarius Smith is going to turn into a messy situation that drags out into training camp before we finally trade him, move on from him, whatever happens with that. Dalvin Cook, at the moment, I'm leaning more towards I think he plays for the Vikings because I don't think that they're getting what they feel he's worth in return for a trade offer. And at that point, you might as well just keep him because we know he can still make plays. We know he's still an explosive playmaker. So you might as well. You've retained Madison. One more year isn't going to hurt rolling it back with those two. That's kind of where I'm sitting with those right now.
Yeah, Minnesota will probably end up having to cut Za'Darius because he's the wrong side of 30. He's coming off some injuries.
Yeah.
He's got an injury history. He's going to be tough to deal.
Here's what I'm looking at over the cap for him as well. Dead money and cap savings. Two little bars right beside of each other. Cut pre-June 1. Dead money is 8.3. Saving is 7.1. If you cut him post, dead money is 6.7. The savings is 8.7. So it does make a little more sense. You would save very minimum, but you would save money technically if you cut him post June 1st. I mean, I don't understand. I don't know why he doesn't want to. That's the thing. I want to know why he doesn't want to play here because I think any player would want to play for Brian Flores, and his salary's not bad.
I don't know,
last year, I think he was told after he had his injury not to be as aggressive. That's my guess, is because he didn't look like he was even out there doing his thing anymore.
Well, speaking of the contract, Andrew says, I've got the same bad feeling about Za'Darius. That contract is fine if he can play like he did the first half, but that's taking a huge chance. Well, here's what he has. Base salary of 9.4, 1.6 prorated bonus, per game roster bonus, $3 million. Guaranteed salary is only $5 million. Cap number is 15. I mean, it's not terrible. It's less than Daniil. I think Daniil probably deserves more than he does, but it's not outrageous. So it's not like
Za'Darius has never been one to be shy about his discontent either.
That's true.
If he was really as upset as he was when he was in Green Bay, he'd have been talking about it already, most likely.
2023 cash payout, $12.5 million. So
yeah, it's a weird situation because you feel like he wants to move on from the team, but he's also not mad at the team, and you kind of wish he would just be pissed off about it, like you said, just come out and be like, the defense was terrible and the coach dresses funny and I think the food in the building sucks, and like just come out and say that. Oh, okay, then we're ready to move on from him. But I don't know. I guess I don't quite get it either. He must think he can make more money elsewhere, but with the injury history and everything else that comes with it, boy, I don't know.
He could do that cliche thing too, where he says, "I would like to chase a ring. I don't think that they're going to win one here. I do like the team. Blah blah blah."
Yeah,
if he's not bought in, then he shouldn't be here.
Well, that's the other thing too. It's really weird. I don't know. Maybe I just don't remember this happening, but I've never seen a player who's under contract for multiple years for a team just up and say a thank you to the team like he's already gone. It's like,
yeah, that was weird.
What are you doing with that? Because we haven't released you. We haven't shopped and agreed to get rid of you. So
yeah, and like I sold my house and thank you for the memories, Minnesota. Like what? You're still under contract. That's why initially, and I still kind of feel that way too, I'm calling his bluff a little bit and being like, dude, you're under contract. Yeah, you want to not show up? Okay, not show up. We'll pay you to not play for this team, and then you'll be a year older. What are you going to do? You're under contract. Fucking show up for the team and play. We'll find a rule for you.
That would be I won't say funny and laugh at him because I do like him as a player, but that would feel like such a Spielman and Rick move to do for this team. And I'd be like, all right, don't play.
I would. You can't. See, here's the thing. You can't be a push.
Reference in the chat.
You can't be a pushover, though. Like, we know that they did really good when the new GM and the coach came in about being like, we're player first and we're building this kumbaya culture of whatever. But I don't necessarily know if you want to set the notion that, hey, one of our big splash free agents came in a year ago and then he was just like, nah, fam, I don't want to play here anymore.
Wasn't he the one doing all the videos with Hunter? Like,
right.
And was he the one that coined like the Purple People Eaters 2.0 or whatever?
Yeah, he said needed the quarterback. I was like, what happened in a span of 8 months?
He's so excited.
So do you really want to set the precedent that, like, oh man, one of our marquee free agents a year later is just like, nah, I'm done. And we're like, okay, cool, you can do that. I don't know. I'm calling his bluff. I'm dragging this out and through training camp and making him sweat it out and be like, whatever.
Here's a good spot. Here's a good point that we can talk a little more about. Do you have to burn a roster spot for a holdout? I wouldn't want to. Certainly would not want to. I guess it just comes down to money. Do they feel like cutting and eating some of that money? I don't know. But as it stands right now, they have signed Marcus Davenport, and he absolutely will take over the rushing position of Zadarius Smith if he don't want to play. Like, that's what he got brought in for. So, I don't know. And they even had on the graphic when he signed, outside linebacker. I was like, well, if that's not telling enough.
What I really want to know is, has he even had a conversation with Brian Flores as to, like, hey, this is how I envision you fitting into the defense? Has he?
It can't have it. I mean, we were waiting a little extra, to see who they were going to pick at DC, and then that came out like a week or two later. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
It's really weird, man. It's an awkward situation.
Flores just got here. I mean, NFL
maybe that's something to do with Flores' lawsuits and stuff like that. Maybe he just doesn't respect that part of who Flores is.
I don't know, but
because that's kind of a polarizing thing too.
That's a good point. I would see if it was, and I hate to use this comparison because Brian Flores did nothing of this nature. Actually, I'm on the Brian Flores side. I'm saying, it's kind of messed up. If he had a tainted image like a Deshaun Watson and that kind of stuff was going on.
He doesn't. We're not saying that. Yeah.
But his lawsuit is kind of fighting the system. I don't understand why he would be up against that if that's what it is. But it's weird. He's proven that he has great defenses wherever he goes.
All we can do is speculate because we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know anything.
Really weird,
wouldn't you be excited to go from Ed Donatel to Brian Flores as
a player? Excited to go from Ed Donatel to a grilled cheese sandwich.
I do like grilled cheese.
I don't know. Oh, that was so bad.
It's weird. It's a weird situation, and I'm with you. I don't really remember another time that a player for the Vikings has done this.
It's odd. Already saying goodbye and stuff, and you're like, yeah, dude, you got 2 years left. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Didn't we have one safety a few years ago that was doing this stuff?
Which one?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't know. It's one of the ones that wanted it to be a starter and just...
Oh, Jaron Curse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done all right in Dallas. Zim didn't want to play him. I don't know why. He only played on special teams.
He's the only Viking I can remember being so vocal.
Well, on the defensive side, we found one that made its way to Buffalo that's not happy again. Man.
Diggs will never be happy. You can keep him happy for a season or two, but like long term, he's...
That's hilarious too because the Vikings haven't achieved as much success as the Bills, as far as postseason and getting close. So now that he's gotten even closer but failed, it probably hurts more.
Probably.
That sucks, man. I still remember the picture of him on the Kansas City field when they won the AFC Championship and the Bills lost. I'm like, ooh, that's gotta suck, man.
Yeah.
Hey, we need a wide receiver too. You want to come play with Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, he's a competitor, man. Like, of course it sucks to lose. But...
What's crazy is we already have jerseys with your number on them.
Yeah.
You can come back.
Where are you really going to go that's going to give you a better chance to win?
Retired?
Yeah, Joe Webb.
Yeah, Joe Webb retired jerseys.
Joe Webb retired it.
Yes, you're right, Andrew. Curse did have some off the field stuff. I don't remember exactly what it was about. I would love to see a guy like that. I can just tell because he and Diggs were like best friends. I always see him on 96 Questions, like dogging on other players and giving them crap.
I have not taken a look at any receivers in this draft, so I don't even know who would be a good fit for Minnesota.
Well, I've been pounding the table in the chat for Mecole Hardman. He has a lot of speed, and it's so funny. Somebody made a smart comment the other day. Pro Football Focus has been doing this with a bunch of teams where they intertwine the new, players that are acquired to a team. It's like, this is the potential so-and-so team's offense or defense. And they talked about it with Minnesota and adding the receiver from TCU. And they're like, you replaced one guy. And I'm like, yeah, the other guy was 32 years old and slowing down. Of course, but what do you mean we replaced one guy? He's not on the team anymore. just not going to have anybody else out there. Like
Thielen was never the same after that back injury.
Yeah, no. That's so funny. I wonder what direction they're going to go.
I still am a Thielen fan, and I hope that he's happy with whatever he's doing. I'm not going to say I wish him success because, another team in the conference that I don't want them doing well.
He did say, I'll defend him on that. He did say he did not want to leave Minnesota, but
he still made the decision to.
Yeah. Correct.
He will retire a Viking.
I saw somebody on Twitter. I don't want to throw any tags out there or anything, but apparently they tweeted Thielen's wife and asked her why Thielen didn't take a cut the way Harrison Smith did if he wanted to stay in Minnesota. It's like, that is a ballsy question to ask.
Yeah, they don't have to answer that. They probably won't, but
did she reply back?
She did.
What'd she say?
It's none of your business.
That's fair. Also,
and you don't know what we're going through. You don't know the situation, and none of us do. We just see what the media tells us.
Did he spend it all on camels at his birthday party? Like,
Jesus
Peterson?
Christ! Speaking of, happy birthday!
Top golf for a day.
Speaking of, happy birthday, Adrian Peterson. Well,
you have to pay him every time you say his name now. No, but it's.
Yeah, Wes, I was saying that's why I brought this up.
I did see an article that was something, I didn't click on it, but the headline was like, Adrian Peterson contemplating NFL future. Like, dude, you don't have to contemplate it. No one in the league is signing you. No, you're retired now.
He's bounced around the league enough to where he should say, okay, it's time to start making rounds at conventions and stuff, making some money that way with appearances, and he definitely could.
Yeah, like, let me call the Vikings up, let me sign the one-day contract to retire a Viking, because when he was back when we were in the playoffs, I mean, come on, the ovation he still gets, we all love Adrian Peterson. He's going to be a superstar.
I don't know about
here.
Love. We appreciate what he did for the Vikings on the field.
I still do. I mean, he's going to be a superstar here for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he needs to sign that one-day contract and get in the Vikings Ring of Honor.
Because he played elsewhere, like you said, throughout his career. But are they really going to have Adrian Peterson Day in Arizona? Or an Adrian Peterson Alumni Day in Washington? No.
Detroit.
In Detroit. Like, no. It's the Vikings fans and organization are going to be the one that's going to... When you go in the Hall of Fame, you're going in as a Viking.
That's a fun topic. I'm not saying yes or no either way, but Adrian Peterson, Hall of Fame?
Yeah. Yep.
He's done a lot.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Maybe not first ballot, but he's damn good, and he has a lot of records, so.
I mean, you're getting right down to it with, like, him and, Jesus, I almost said Derek Carr. Derrick Henry being the last two of the real bell cow running backs like that.
Although I am a bit surprised that Chris Johnson never made like any kind of Hall of Fame noise, and it's like Adrian Peterson's kind of in that same category, I'll say.
Yeah, and for a while I know you had a lot of people saying that he might have been better than Adrian Peterson too. Like that was a debate, that was a conversation that popped up.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Adrian Peterson's history or future will hold for him, as far as what he can do. Because I don't know if he's going to get another look in the NFL. If he does, it won't be in any position that he's going to be getting. He'll never be a major contributor, I don't think, on another team.
No,
despite being a physical freak.
Yeah.
Still one of my favorite stories everyone talks about when they shake his hand, they feel like he was in a vice grip. It's like just having that brute strength for no reason.
I think stuff like that is weird because they always talk about tight grips, but being someone who I was raised on a Native American reservation, and when you shake hands with a native, you're not supposed to squeeze their hand.
I didn't know that.
Didn't either.
So it's like a tight grip for me is not something that I really, because I've always been raised, while I'm here, when I shake a hand, not to, do the whole firm handshake. Well, maybe not, maybe still firm, but not, tight.
Right. Andrew Latola, AP long snapper. We're not replacing that all-pro long snapper. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I think what helps make Adrian's case for being a Hall of Famer is he was on some really terrible Vikings teams that he pulled into the playoffs.
The MVP and the single game rushing record are both things that he's really got going for him.
Yeah.
I think he cracked in the top 5 rushing yards all time. So that's.
But Frank Gore's above him, isn't he?
He is.
He also played for 45 years in the NFL, so he's
Him
bound
and his son
to have...
are playing in the NFL at the same time.
Insane. Absolutely insane. AP punter, yeah, that doesn't work either. Oh, man. Well, yeah, that's about the recap for the show. Offensive line's in an okay state. I won't say it's great. All 3 of the middle positions do concern me to some degree, each differently more than others, but it is nice to have familiarity back. Like we said, the bookends are great. Garrett Bradbury, I hope that you can maintain and go above what you played last year, because you did show you were fighting to play again and wanted to earn that contract. Cheers to improvement for Ed Ingram. You can kind of only go up, so hopefully he does. I like Ezra Cleveland. We'll see where the Vikings go. I still think whether it be free agency, acquiring money or whatever through a trade, freeing up money through a trade or whatever, I still think they'll add another offensive lineman. Now, whether or not that's going to be an elite starter, a backup, whatever, I think they'll have to take a look at that. But
wouldn't it be kind of wild if the Vikings ran a pass blocking tight end and a fullback to block in passing situations?
Oh my gosh. Could have 3 on Justin Jefferson, then that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sure he would love that.
He'd still find a way to get separation or make a crazy catch.
Yeah, we're about at that point with that guy. It's like, throw it up there.
Well, I know that I made jokes when he first arrived, but man, Cousins and Hawkinson have something good going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that guy a lot.
We haven't heard any rumblings about a contract extension. Are they crazy enough to dangle him for a trade? Because I sure hope not. For what they gave up for TJ, they have to lock him down as a Viking, right?
He's a top 4 tight end in the league.
I don't think they're going to trade him. Yeah, I don't think they're going to trade him. Half a second there, I thought you were talking about Jefferson, and I was like, I don't even want to speak that into the universe.
No.
No, I think even with Kirk, even if Kirk leaves after this year, he's such a good blanket for a young quarterback. I mean, he's so good. He's so good.
Absolutely.
And
it's
he
like when they drafted Christian Ponder, they said, we're going to get him a weapon right away. And what they do in the next round, they go and get Kyle Rudolph, who had a fantastic early career in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. I still think he had a fantastic late career, even though the numbers weren't there. That catch against the Saints in the end zone is still my favorite. That was clear as day, pushing off on the corner. It's like, no, you guys are going home. Thanks.
I'm a big fan of Kyle Rudolph. He did a lot of great things for this team as well, too. Does he get in the Ring of Honor? Are we putting him in the Ring of Honor, or is he not quite?
I don't think so.
Not quite at that level? No.
I don't think so either. But we'll see.
No, but if we can find ways,
the thing Vikings legend, they throw that around a bit.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that.
Vikings legend EJ Henderson.
He follows me on Twitter. That was a personal best for me that day.
Yeah. I
like when he gets on and shares his opinion.
Now, Aaron Henderson, I don't care for as much, but EJ, I do like some EJ.
Yeah. They need like one step below the Ring of Honor to put some of these other guys in. So you have like the Ring of Honor and then the Table of Recognition.
Yeah, I was going to say the Square of Good Guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were here for this, Smith, but Wes, do you remember when I went to the Super Bowl experience? I took a picture of the Hall of Famous.
Hall of Famous. Yep, I do remember that.
That's incredible. I don't know about that.
Oh, man, that was good stuff.
Well, what do you think, man? I think that's about it. We've somehow made this show 55 minutes.
Well, there was enough news. As of right now, the Vikings are under the cap. They adjusted the contract of the corner they just signed to add 2 void years so that they fit under the cap. So as of right now, Minnesota is okay.
Cap compliant.
I like it. Now that
because
doesn't
at the start
mean...
of the new year, they had to be under.
Right. And I know some fans are still looking at this going, oh, but I thought we were going to restructure Brian O'Neill. We could get this much money, and if we cut CJ Ham, we could get this much more money. And, like, that's still stuff that potentially could happen if the Vikings need to make money. But they found a way to get cap compliant without doing that. And so, like, the Brian O'Neill thing is, in my mind, that's an emergency situation. Like, hey,
Right.
we're a ways into the season and someone got hurt and we got to trade for a player. We can restructure Brian O'Neill and we can free up this much money to pay for someone if necessary.
Now, I don't know if this includes paying for the Vikings draft picks or anything like that either. So there may have to be some adjustments made by the time the draft rolls around, which it's sneaking up fast, the draft.
Next month, right?
Yep. I did want to talk about one more thing before we go, just because it does pertain to the NFL and it has a lot to do with all of us. Commissioner Roger Goodell set for a multi-year contract extension beyond 2024. This was yesterday. This came out on CBS. After nearly 2 decades on the job, he's not done yet. Is expected to finalize a multi-year contract extension alongside team owners at the league's upcoming annual meetings.
I'm actually good with that.
Yeah, I think he's learned a little bit from how they've mishandled some things over the years under his tenure. But main thing for me is, do you focus on player safety? Do you focus on what's better for the game? And that's subjective to us as a fan. You know, I don't like to do overtime rule, blah, blah, blah. But he is making the NFL very much enjoyable to watch. And
yeah, see, I'm not even looking at it from that angle. I'm looking at it from the angle that Andrew's saying right there. Yeah. Goodell might not make the best decisions as far as what's best for players or viewers or anything, but he knows what's best for making money. That guy he has turned the NFL into just a money-making machine.
Absolutely.
They have, and they're turning it into a worldwide product now, too. They've really done a good job of expanding the NFL out past the United States. So you guys are 100%. I don't like a lot of the decisions. The refereeing sucks. Like, that's all things that need to be addressed. But hey, he's making more money for the league, so that in turn makes more money for the owners. So of course they are going to extend him. I always kind of liked that pipe dream theory that we were going to fire him and put Peyton Manning in charge. Because that would have been great. That would have been a lot of fun.
I don't think he wants that job at all.
No. Why, dude, why would he? He has so much fun doing, like, the ESPN show with his brother. And anytime he wants to do any kind of media,
a Comedy Central roast here and there.
Right. Yes. You know he could step into Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, whatever, and take anyone's job on the spot right now if he wanted to. So Why would he actually run the league? But I wanted him to. It would have been fun.
I thought I had something on my shirt from looking at the screen, but it's not. It's not even like on my cam. It's down below me. There's stars, I think.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's part of the background.
Well, what the heck? Well, that's all I have for this week, and I think that'll clear it up for us. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, I believe we're going to start on talking about some of the defensive positions next week. So,
yes, and I alluded it to earlier in the chat. I want to bring it up again. Purple and Gold, Justin, if that's you, shoot me a DM. I'll figure out a day for the guys. If we're going to talk about DBs next, we had all agreed we would have you on as a guest. I would love to talk about that and many other things, and we'll do that next show if you're down, or if your scheduling needs another week, we'll go in a different order. But we're going to have Purple and Gold for Days on as a guest soon. Let's talk about defensive backs and our positional breakdowns, and that'll be fun.
Should be good times. We should have some more Minnesota Vikings news coming up soon, because there are some decisions to make, as well as details on things like what Harrison Smith's actual new deal with the Vikings does look like. So we'll have to wait and see what some of that information, when it trickles out, what that's going to be. But we'll be back probably within a week to talk more Vikings football. And thanks again to everyone who joined us in the chat. And remember, you can find us now on Audible, as well as Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podomatic, Stitcher, all the major podcast sites. We're there. So if you miss a show, you can catch us there, or you can catch the full catalog over on our YouTube channel, which I don't recommend going back too far, because, boy, some of those shows are rough. But if you want to catch us live, you can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch, which is my personal Twitch channel, MN Viking Zombie, where I've been playing a little bit of Overwatch as well lately. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, fun times over there.
Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. We don't pound that in the front like a lot of the YouTube algorithm and the editors and YouTube content creators say. We wait for the end because you've lasted this long and we appreciate it. But like the YouTube channel, subscribe to it. It'll let you know when we're going live. I try to post hours and hours before we are going to go live. So you'll get that to plan ahead, whether it be a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So just remember that. If you could do that for us, that'd be wonderful. This is where you can find the guys and some of their work or their social media.
Absolutely. I do want to thank everyone who's visited the Viking Age and clicked on one of my articles, because it's been a very good month for me over there, and I appreciate all the help, because that helps pay the bills, and sadly, things just keep getting more and more expensive. So, the more clicks, the more you help me out. I'd appreciate that on the Viking Age, as well as swing into my Twitch, where I'm going to let you guys in on a little bitty secret. I am like this close to getting my first payment from Twitch for streaming.
Very nice, man.
Awesome,
which is exciting, because I never thought I'd make any money from it, but I am very, very close.
Is the money going to get you a hot tub? Are you going to be a hot tub Twitch streamer now, Adam?
I've thought about getting a hot tub, but
not for streaming.
Adam, anytime you're in a tub, it's a hot tub.
Oh.
Boom.
Logistically, before my mom passed and I moved in here, I said, Mom, we're getting a hot tub when I get there. And she said, no, we're not. I don't know where I'm going to put it.
Hey, here's a good question to end on. Adam Charlotte wants to know, what can we do to help on Twitch?
Basically, one of the greatest things you can do is, if you get there, just follow the account. That doesn't cost you anything. And if you tune in every once in a while, there'll be some ads that run. That'll make me some money. And that'd be kind of cool if you'd sit through an ad while the stream boots up, or while the ads play mid-roll while I'm playing games. That'd be cool. Or you can support with subscriptions or bits or anything like that as well, if you feel up to it.
And like I always say,
but those are absolutely not necessary.
Sharing on social media, I don't think people realize how important that is, to just send a link out and be like, hey, check out my friend Adam's work over on Twitch. Here's a link to his profile.
Charlotte, I also love the horror podcasts.
I was going to promote that here just a second. It's me. I'm holding it back. I'm sorry. We need to watch some more stuff and review it, but we also do that live. Right now, we're on the Facebook and YouTube page for the Purple People podcast. When we go live for Adam and I's horror movie reviews on his channel, it's also on his YouTube channel, so you can help out there as well.
I recently watched 47 Meters Down, as well as Cocaine Bear, and both I thought were kind of fun. So
that's awesome. I'm going to run through these real quick. Adam, social media here, you can follow. And
I just recently posted a TikTok about my cat, so that's exciting. Kyle Smith has already seen the new Scream movie. I have not.
Twice. I am a Scream stan. I said it yesterday, and I'm proud of it. Yeah.
I've seen the first three, and then I kind of stopped there, and then I watched the one before this one.
Yeah, 6 definitely picks up from the new younger characters that are introduced. Spoiler alert.
So I guess I only missed 4.
Yeah, you didn't miss much. I didn't like it. Kyle West will argue with me on that, and that's cool.
Yeah, I quite like 4. 4 is really good.
I'll watch it. I still like it. It's like pizza, even when it's bad. I like it. This one picks up with the new characters, which I enjoy, and it's in New York. So there's a little bit of nostalgia from Part 8 in Friday the 13th that I was like, oh, you guys tried something different here. Pretty cool. But spoiler, they did not come to contract agreement. So there is no Nev Campbell. There is no Sidney Prescott for the first time ever in this Scream.
I am okay with that.
But is there Jay and Silent Bob?
No, that's one of my favorite parts about 3.
Okay, so have you seen the Scream TV series, the MTV one?
I have. That I have watched.
It is surprisingly good.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you would not think that MTV anything at this point would be worth watching. Nah, check out that Scream TV show.
I will. I will definitely do that.
But I'm really hoping Smith and I can get together and record another show here soon because I've been watching everything horror that comes out right now. There hasn't been anything really new and fresh in the last week or so. So I'm hoping something new comes out soon with horror so I can check it out.
So yeah, I'm behind the 8 ball on that, but I will definitely.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch and try to get one of those up soon.
Nev made it all. I had a crush on her. Yeah, you and me and 5 million other people.
Yeah, I think pretty much everybody did.
I got a picture with her last year, and I think she just kind of gave me that speech that you have to give because it wasn't really like have a moment to talk. It was just a quick photo. But I asked her, said it's probably obviously the first one. What's your favorite one? What's your favorite scary movie? She's like, the first one's cool. She's like, what's yours? I was like, unpopular opinion. I love the third one. The Hollywood one was my favorite. She's like, oh, that is unpopular. She's like, I like it though. She's like, I had a lot of fun making that. And next person up, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty
It's
cool.
an extremely personal detail. I also had a huge crush on Nev Campbell for a while until I saw a movie where she was smoking in it, and I'm like, that's not attractive. So yeah, I guess I'm picky, I guess. And I know in movies like sometimes they aren't even smokers themselves. It's just, they're doing it for the role. But still, I mean, I don't know why I get that in my mind. Weirdly enough, I had the same thing with Juliette Lewis. Don't know if you guys know her.
Sorry, I'm texting and I shouldn't be. I'll have to look her up, sir. Maybe the face will make it. The name does not jump out for me. Fish lips. Oh, I could take that so many directions, and I'm not going to do that. We're going to go down
PG.
We don't want to get kicked off of. We don't want to get kicked off of Audible the first day.
Yeah, that's how we get kicked off Audible on the first episode that we're on it.
I'll let Adam Carlson sign us off. If you want to check us out, if you're still watching, these are our social media handles. You can follow us.
Yeah, thanks again to everyone who joined us in the chat. If you have a chance and you're ever in the Carolina area, go check out Kyle Smith putting on some music. He does a good job. I actually saw a photo from his last performance, and it looked like a pretty nice, comfortable area, too, to have a show.
That's where all that sunburn came from this weekend. My forearm is toast.
I thought you were going to have like a Cody Rhodes tattoo when you did that.
I want a neck tattoo.
That's a reference for Adam.
I'm not going to do it. I want a neck tattoo.
You going to get your Chad Kroger neck tattoo?
Maybe not that one.
Sir, I will talk you out.
Oh, by the way, I found out it's
tattoo.
Kruger, not Kroger. So.
Oh no.
He corrected someone in an interview. He's like, "I'm not Kroger, I'm Kruger."
Like Freddy?
I've been calling him the wrong name for 20 years.
Is he also a pedo?
Oh no.
I hope not. Yeah, that's a good note to take off.
That'll be it.
On that note, thanks again for everyone who stopped in, and we'll be back next week to talk more Vikings football. Thanks again, and stay classy, Minnesota.